Hello. Welcome to Astro Podcast Weekly Report. This is Jody Shirami at Astropod on Circast, and this is Redford, our newest puppy. Let's see if we can see him. He's right here. We go say hi, Redford. It's the new moon in Aries. New moon in Aries. He's a Cancer dog, so Aries is his 10th house of fame and fortune and good luck, right? So he's super happy today. Oh, how's everyone doing? I hope you've been catching my daily. If not, head over to Patreon. You can watch it over there. Today is April 17th, and the anticipated new moon to begin this new cycle of the astrological year begins today. Although Saturn and Neptune met up on February 20th to begin the plans, let's say the architectural plans for what is to occur, that started on February 20th, 2026. But today is the official beginning of the astrological year that we're in, the year of the fire horse. Let's not forget the fire horse. Now we are really in the fire horse year because it's Aries season and things are happening this week that we've been talking about. Today, the moon met up with the sun at 27 degrees, 28 degrees at about 6:27 a.m. this morning. So by the time a lot of us woke up, it had been gone and headed into Taurus by now. It's in Taurus already today. So I woke up today. It's really weird. I woke up at around 6:30. I looked outside my window and there was a light outside, meaning the sun was coming through. So I said, oh no, my alarm didn't go off. But the 27th, 28th, 27th degree is the beginning of this fire energy. And now that the plans have been made on February 20th, today it becomes initiated with the Aries sun and the Aries moon. And also Chiron, the healing comet, is also there with Aries, the healing comet in terms of stands up for women's rights. So that's a lot to handle, right? And if you didn't notice, women's rights is really on the docket for the next 1,000 years. That's right, you heard me, the next 1,000 years. As the Aquarius era will be bringing in equality for all, freedom for all, which is really what democracy represents, is what the Aquarius really rolls over, which is the number 11, which is a power number. If you don't know numerology, go check that out. The power numbers that cannot be added together. 11, you can't add 11 together to make 2. And then so 11 is the number of mankind, which is again the language of the patriarchy. Number 11 is the number of humankind, of equality, of high intelligence, to have critical thinking abilities, to get through the muck that people throw at you that is not real. It's delusional. And that would be the age of Neptune, where all these religions came in and really, really hammered down certain things that the patriarchy really wanted to not lose as Neptune era came in. Right after the Mars Aries era, then it became Neptune, and now we're heading toward Aquarius. So these ages also move in reverse like the moon with the karmic nodes of destiny. So we're dealing with karmic energy that is high off the charts right now, especially with Saturn here in Aries, everything we do. The other thing that's happening is that the moon in Taurus is squaring Pluto. Lots of frustration. And then on the 19th through the May 21st, on Sunday, the sun enters Taurus with steady, focused homebody vibes, because Taurus is ruled by Venus. And also Mars is going to conjunct Saturn in Aries the same day. And the goals that come into focus now in your life with this fire energy of Mars and Saturn is going to alchemize your dreams into gold. So that's a big one. Think about that for a second. Every planet's moving forward. Every planet almost is basically in Aries. So we are being really like a rocket ship. Then on the 20th, Mercury meets Saturn and Mars and headed towards your goals is how I see that. Then on the 24th, Venus enters Gemini. And then on the 25th, Uranus enters Gemini. So, ooh-wee, here we go with Gemini season coming up after Taurus season. So, this is huge because Venus was just in her home of Taurus, and she's very near the end degrees. That's why she's having meetups with other planets at energetic degree. But this energy is so off the charts that it's like 20,000 years in the making, 9,000 years in history, 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago. America is going to be having its Uranus birth chart return when that occurs on the 25th of this month, which is a couple days. I mean, about a week. Is it about a week? Yeah, it's about a week. So basically, when Uranus enters Gemini, we begin a new 7-year pattern. So think back to 70 years ago, which would be 2019, 2018-ish, when Uranus moved into Taurus permanently, 2019. And what were you doing then? And how has those 7 years gone? Uranus going to Gemini, these processing things that we need to do will be very, very quick for a Gemini. Geminis are going to benefit the most with this turbulent, new, groundbreaking energy coming in. It's going to bring in a lot of energy. A lot of technology is going to evolve here to where we think that our communications are fast and quick now. It's going to be much quicker and faster. I happened to see the one of my friends at Sundance Film Festival who's from Australia. He had gotten the new new glasses where you can just tap it and it starts to record from your eyeglasses instead of picking up your phone and do that. And so he showed me how it worked, and he took a picture of me with it, and it was like, wow. So that's kind of like my dream thing as a Gemini, because as Gemini midheaven, it's kind of my thing, because it helps you. You have so many ideas, so many quick things. You see something outside, and you just boom, and right then record it. It'd be so great, right? So that's what we're talking about: innovation, technology, things that are going to really speed up our communications, right? And one of the big deals is all these data centers that are going in and how harmful they can be to the surrounding neighborhood of people living there. And a lot of people use AI. I sometimes use it for like my profile picture. The new moon is really been going on. We've been feeling it for a while. So now it's just the time to say, well, if you're feeling it, you should do something about it. And I heard another astrologer say that because of Mercury is in Aries, Mercury is a little audacious here with its words, which I get because I can be audacious with my Mercury words in Aries. I can sound angry when I'm not. I'm just hyped up. Basically, what we're saying here is that Mercury can start wars here in Aries, and Mercury is moving along. Like I just said, it's going to meet up with Saturn, and Mars is meeting up with Saturn as well on Sunday. Now, Mars meeting up Saturn, like I said, it is the fire under you personally, like a rocket ship, because now you have the Mars energy, which rules over Aries, meeting up with Saturn, the one who can put everything into like my son, my Capricorn son helps me, put everything into a, what do you call it? Outline? Outlines. I've always done outlines, but I didn't realize how popular they were now to do because it seemed old-fashioned. But my son says no, everyone still does outlines. And so now that you've got the outline, you'll have the energy with Neptune's ability to dream up all kinds of impossible things that could come true, like computers are now true, and cars, and rocket ships, and all kinds of stuff. It's a very exciting time to be alive. And if you feel like you have a little pain in your mouth at all, Evan Nathaniel Grimm, I believe, said this. If you have a little bit of a hard time feeling a little pain, it means that you haven't said what you need to say with Mercury in Aries. Mercury doesn't hold back. And sometimes it's quite refreshing, and sometimes it's quite awful. But again, it's the baby. You know, the baby will say things, and that's what the baby's here to do, is figure out what it wants. And that's what Aries is. So a lot of adults that are Aries, especially if they have Mercury in Aries, they can say things that they haven't thought about, and they're just going to go with it and hope for the best that it landed correctly. But not always does it land correctly. It can get you quite in a lot of trouble. Because especially if you're an adult, you know, if you're young, it doesn't, you know, it's a little forgivable. But at these degrees of the new moon, it's not a baby moon. This is not a baby Aries we're talking about. We're beginning the new cosmic calendar, not as a baby, but as a teenager at 27, 28 degrees here. And that's going to linger as the moon moves out. As the moon hits 28, 29 degrees, it is still in a close enough conjunction to this powerful, powerful planet that the sun, I mean, not the sun, the star, is close enough to the star of the sun that it really is going to cause a lot of things to happen. And one of the things that I want you to understand is that although it seems like Aries is a baby, the baby does eventually grow up into a teenager, into an adult. So 28, 29 degrees as the moon shifted out today, it was also speaking to our emotional child if you're not old, if you're older. If not, then they're speaking directly to you. My son happens to be 15 going on 16. It's kind of speaking to him. But back to the Aries. The Aries moon is now in Taurus, and now we have the mood of stability, because Venus is a fixed sign here. So Venus is fixed on luxuries, because that's what Taurus represents, is all the finer things in life that we want, from a baby into a teenager. And you know, teenagers love things, all kinds of things. And that's where our original intention of what we value begins. And a lot of people never grow out of this stage. I'll say that again. A lot of people never grow out of this stage where they're a teenager heading into their grown-up years, and they want things. And when they get lost in that Taurus fixed sign of pleasure and creature comforts and the ability to sit there on the grass and just chew on your grass all day, without a care in the world, that can lead you to become passive to your own life, because you get what you want now. So what else is there? So your mind starts to harden, and it's a fixed Venus sign. So your mind starts to harden as you get into a teenager. Things either go your way or don't go your way. And these things shape who you are as an adult. The baby already has gotten what he needed to where he's here. And once you get here, you have really so much joy in being a teenager for most people, depending on where your Taurus is, your Venus. Some people have a hard time, and those people that have a hard time as they get to adulthood, which is Gemini, where you go out into the world, the number 3, your community, your world, your work, where you're going to be hanging out from, let's say, 18 to 28. let's say for those 10 years, what are you going to be doing? Who are you going to hang around with, right? So Gemini here has so many choices, they can lose their way. This is the age where I got in a car accident and almost died. Same with my husband. So these are the age I really take care of my children and really guide them. Not tell them what to do, but guide them, because it is their choice. It is their life that they will be reaping the rewards of. So, so these are things that I don't think people talk about in the real world, how to be a parent. It's like, just because your kid's off to college doesn't mean like, oh, they're gone, I don't think about them anymore. It's like, yeah, that's when you need to think about them the most, is when they're going through all these adult themes that they have to figure out. By the time they're 28, hopefully they figured it out, right? But if they haven't, you still got to be there and help them figure it out. So I personally think that's what's wrong with society as a whole in the world. So money in Venus is being misused, is being abused. So there's a lot going on. It's not a mistake that Venus is going to move into Uranus before Uranus leaves Taurus. Venus is already going to meet up with Uranus, have a little talk with Uranus, and then head in and say, follow me. Now, where does Venus rule? It rules over Taurus, the fixed earth sign. So these earth things are all the things we own, all our property, everything that you can touch, that you own, that you value, is in Taurus. Okay? So now Gemini, you're heading into the air sign where Uranus will thrive. But Venus, she's not going to not thrive, because she does rule over the other air sign, the cardinal air sign of Libra. So it's not that Venus will struggle in Gemini, it's just that she's focused on what she's intent on doing after Taurus especially. And so here she's coming in to network. She's in here to say, hey, what's going on? What are you working on? What are you doing? Hey, do you think about that? How about collaborating? How about that? How about you? Are you interested in doing anything with me? So that's what's happening here when Venus moves in Gemini. She's thinking about work. So it's not that she's not doing well. It's that she's working to make sure that she can keep the things that she got in Taurus. And Libra is the opposite of Aries. But Libra is an air sign that is compatible with Gemini. So Venus will do quite well here, but she's not going to be at her full strength like she is in Taurus or in Libra or in Neptune where she's exalted. I mean in Pisces, right? So right now Venus is working, speaking in her sweet voice to everyone, saying what's going on. And then Taurus is going to move in after Venus the very next day, which is quite quick for Uranus, meaning that Venus is going to meet up with Gemini at the very, very last degrees of Taurus, probably at 29 degrees and 59 minutes. I was born at 28 degrees of Leo, so this is the very end. It's an anaretic degree, so the day that happens is going to be quite shocking, because Uranus is involved, and it's going to involve something to do with the earth in the mundane world. Something will be occurring this week that we've seen all over the world already, with some huge cyclones in the Pacific hitting Guam. God bless you, Guam. I know you're Americans. And with Venus involved, it's going to be something that is valuable to humans. What could that be? I don't know, but if I had to guess, it would be oil. Right now it has to do with oil. So the back and forth is a Gemini thing. And the current president is a Gemini, but he's a Leo rising. People see him as a Leo. But the reason he talks back and forth is because he's a Gemini. They change their minds a lot. And that's a great thing after coming from a fixed sign of Taurus. Options are in a box. This is all I can choose, right? But in Gemini, you have air, your thoughts, your mind. So you can think up everything you might need that isn't available to you. So that's what's happening. And we've been anticipating Uranus moving to Gemini, all the astrologers and astrologists. As an astrologist, I study the astrologers. And overall, most agree that this is a very, very powerful time. And some would say it is the end of time because of Uranus in Gemini historically always causes world wars. That has been accounted for in history because no one was keeping history way back then. Like a lot of people can read. It was all symbolisms on temples, on pyramids, on artwork they find. And there's a ton of history in Southeast Asia with all the temples that have been standing there for so long that one man I follow on YouTube has interpreted some of these signs, and he believes that they are former UFOs, or they're made to look like the spaceship that people came here before and then left. And you can see that in the billions of years of history that's going on here on the earth that actually could have happened, and that there are other beings out there, probably not like us, but probably close. Maybe some have evolved, but again, when you see things evolving even in real time, it doesn't always mean it goes well or the way you want it to go, right? So we keep repeating and doing things over and over that we know are not good for the earth and for us. And we're repeating them again. And Senator Tammy Duckworth from Illinois, who's half Thai, her mom was Thai from the same part of the world that my mom and I are from, with this east side. So the other thing is Mercury meeting up with Saturn on the 20th, and Mars meeting up with Saturn as well. And I was saying all engines in and headed towards your goals. Basically, Saturn again gives you form. But personally, it's great. But mundane world, this could be the beginning of a war. This could be when the Strait of Hormuz turns into a war zone. That would be a shame, because that would really ruin the whole world in terms of starvation, being cold, all kinds of things, right? But now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it. That a young girl has invented an earring that when a woman is in danger, or a man, whoever wants to wear the earring, when they're in danger, they can squeeze it and an alarm will go out, like a 911 or something. And I was thinking about that this morning because it's funny that they were talking about it. I heard about this like 2 or 3 months ago, but they're talking about it today. And what I really want you to understand is that the patriarchy, the age of Aries, has continued for so long that this brutality that men have towards women is now in their DNA. And when you meet men, you will see it. And the DNA comes from their mom, because the cells in your body are made from your mom. Your mom has most of all the things that imprint who you are. The mom is the person, is the architect and the producer of you. And that means that your great-grandma, your great-grandma, great-grandma, you have all that knowledge in you. If you ignore that knowledge that you have as a man, that helps you to understand women and how to relate to them through, most likely, religion, which teaches you to have the woman submit to you. And that's what's going on here in America with these churches. They're teaching men to become more masculine. And I talked about this yesterday on my Patreon daily. And when you see these things happening, where a young girl is inventing a way to get help if she's kidnapped, raped, locked in a car, locked in a room, Like, just do this to your ear and someone will come save you. All these things we have. Pepper spray. What else do we have as women to use? Go learn self-defense so you know how to defend yourself. Don't run with ear pods on because they can grab you when you're running. You can't hear them. You can't even enjoy your music when you're running and you're trying to get in shape. No! Watch out, a man might jump out and rape you. So whatever was going on when I was growing up, especially with all the rock and roll stars that had young girls, what do they call it? Groupies, having sex with young girls at 15, 12, 13. It's not just Epstein and Trump. It's all these men that have power. If they get somebody to have some power, and these girls are like, oh, and their parents let them go out. They're at a time of great, great closure. So, if we can survive the next 50 years together, we could change this. But the way things are going with the corporations ran by men is that our earth is not going to survive anyway, so who cares? Let's fucking rape and kill everybody we can when we have time. And that's exactly what this administration is doing, especially their children. So if we can't fix this, my sons will have to rule. So I really, really want you to love yourself, understand you're human, we all make mistakes, but don't blame other people for your mistakes. You can't blame anyone because it is free will. You have free will. I even said to my teenager today, you have free will. You have a choice. Decide what choice you want. I'm not going to tell you which one for you to do because I've already said it. I'm going to say it over and over again. So that's where we're at. It's really free choice. It doesn't matter how old you are. You have free choice on what you want to do. And if you can't handle that, then, that's what's going on. A lot of these people can't handle themselves. They're fighting with each other live in real time. Every single day on the internet, they're bitching on each other, hating on each other every single day. And these are the people that brought us this administration. If you couldn't see what was going on, I hope to God you can see now what's going on. Because if we can't get ourselves out of this mess, like let's say by July, all hell's going to break loose. And the things they're doing without asking permission for, because they don't need permission, because they're in power. And Tammy Duckworth the other day really called Trump out. The 5-time Spoon Spurs dodging the draft. And I felt her pain. I understand it. And she's there to represent everyone that was there unnecessarily. She's there for the men and women of the armed forces to let you know. We're here to support you. We're here to fight for you. But if you keep putting us into senseless, useless wars that only the oligarchy get benefit from and then use it against their own people by raising taxes, raising gas prices, for making us pay 30% of our income to taxes while they do not because of loopholes that they invented. So if we made you rich by buying your products, you should make sure that we don't pay taxes or we won't have money to buy your products anymore, which is exactly what's happening. People are not turning out for these MAGA things anymore because a lot of them have had their eyes opened. And a lot of them are sorry, especially if they have daughters. But again, Star Wars, you see, there's always the dark side. Without the dark side, you can't see the light. Without the balance of the dark and light, you can't have a peaceful, loving universe to live in. You must balance your dark and your light. And my dark side just came out when I called out people for being bad people. That's my dark side. I call you out. And my good side is sitting here wanting to talk to you and help you understand that you're just human. You're not bad. You're not evil. There's always redemption if you want to forgive yourself first. And say sorry. A lot of people can't say sorry. How's that going to go? If you can't even say sorry and ask for forgiveness, that means you can't even say sorry to yourself and give yourself forgiveness. You're punishing yourself. That's how people die. Because of what's inside of them, they can't release. They can't admit it to themselves. They can't look in the mirror and go, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? What have I become? Understand, this is the time to change who you are. If you can't do it, I feel for you. Just understand that. Everybody needs love and affection. Everybody. It's just how it goes. We've seen that. Serial killers didn't get love when they were little. Their parents didn't touch them, didn't put their hand on their face and just give them love. Feeling what skin on skin feels like. When your baby is born, the doctor gives it to you. And I get my baby, I hold him right here, and I start nursing. We're naked, he's naked, we're both naked. And that is the true essence of a human. Skin on skin. All right, that's it. I'm going to go before I say too much more. Thank you. I love you guys. All my spiritual children, I love you. Do what you got to do. You know who you are. It is your time. Thank you. Love you. Bye. See you next week.